The Titanic, known as the Unsinkable, met its fate in a tragic encounter with an iceberg in the icy Atlantic Ocean. But did you know that this catastrophe involved much more than just a simple accident? Have you ever heard of the fire that burned deep within the Titanic for 3 weeks before it set sail? And about the decisions the ship's owners made to avoid bankruptcy, keeping this secret from the passengers? As we explore this tragedy, we'll uncover how a series of events, from planning mistakes to curious coincidences, intertwined to shape the fate of the Titanic and the over 1,500 souls on board. Get ready to uncover a story that goes beyond the obvious and dive deep into the Titanic tragedy like never before. At first glance, the Titanic story seems like a straightforward narrative of tragedy and loss, and it certainly is. But digging deeper, we find that this disaster was shaped by a series of bizarre events and decisions. On April 15th, 1912, an event that would go down in history shook the world of navigation: the tragic sinking of the Titanic. At 11:40 p.m. on the fateful night of April 14th, this majestic ship began to face its terrible ordeal. The impact with the iceberg caused significant damage to the Titanic's hull. Many believe that the collision tore a long gash along the hull, allowing water to flood into the ship's compartments. It was thought that the iceberg was the sole culprit, but new evidence suggests that a dark secret remained hidden for decades. Imagine a raging fire, hidden in the depths of the ship, burning intensely for 3 weeks before departure. This fire, a true furnace inside the Titanic, reached extremely high temperatures and weakened the ship's metal by up to 75%. This claim was made by journalist and Titanic expert Sinan Malani, who used little-known photographs taken by the ship's chief electrical engineer before it left the Belfast shipyard. These photos show black marks along the front right side of the hull. The ship was even positioned with its opposite side facing the dock at Southampton when passengers boarded, so they wouldn't see the marked side. This theory reveals what happened behind the scenes. It's said that the higher management of the White Star Line was aware of the fire on board, but chose to proceed with the voyage to avoid bankruptcy and maintain appearances. To hide the truth from the passengers, they turned the Titanic so the fire marks faced away from the docks, concealing evidence of the looming tragedy. The Titanic was far more than just a ship. It was a floating extravaganza. First-class passengers were treated like royalty, and this was reflected in the ship's spectacular amenities. On board, they could enjoy a stunning grand staircase adorned with luxurious details, spanning several decks. It was a setting fit for the finest of palaces. One of the most iconic features of the Titanic was its magnificent grand staircase. It was a masterpiece of craftsmanship, featuring intricate details, rich wood paneling, elaborate balustrades, and a glass dome that allowed daylight to stream in. This staircase was the focal point of the first-class social area and served as a gathering place for passengers eager to socialize and show off their finest attire. But that's just the beginning. Imagine swimming in a heated pool in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. The Titanic had a luxurious pool where passengers could relax and enjoy a refreshing swim. For those seeking an extra touch of luxury, there was a Turkish bath available. It was a relaxation spot with an Ottoman-style design, offering passengers a high-quality Turkish bath experience in the middle of the ocean. A real treat for well-being. And if you're someone who doesn't want to skip a workout, even on a luxury voyage, the Titanic had the perfect solution. A fully equipped gym, featuring the latest exercise equipment of the time, was available for passengers wanting to stay in shape while crossing the Atlantic. But that's not all. Imagine a squash court in the middle of the ocean where sports enthusiasts could play and compete. It was more than just a ship. It was a true paradise for those seeking the best in entertainment and comfort. Passengers could also enjoy top-notch beauty services aboard the Titanic. There was a beauty salon where women could prepare for gala dinners and other special occasions. Additionally, a stylist was available to help passengers choose hairstyles and accessories suitable for the elegance expected on board. First-class meals included 13 courses, each paired with its own wine, and the dining experience lasted around 5 hours. There were 1,500 bottles of wine, 20,000 bottles of beer, and 8,000 cigars on board. The luxurious details of the Titanic were truly extraordinary for its time. First-class passengers could wander through the ship's opulent hallways and passages, surrounded by art pieces, intricately carved woodwork, and tasteful decor. It was an experience that defined an era of elite ocean travel. Now, imagine being on watch duty aboard the Titanic on that fateful night. Picture not having binoculars to help spot potential obstacles like icebergs. This was one of the notable failures on the Titanic, the absence of binoculars for the lookouts at the time of the accident. The lookouts were responsible for keeping a keen eye out for obstacles like icebergs during the night. However, the binoculars on the Titanic were locked in a special compartment. The only person with the key, Second Officer David Blair, was replaced at the last minute. In his haste to leave the ship, he forgot to hand over the key to his replacement. This crucial mistake was only discovered 3 days later when the ship was already at sea. This lack of clear vision contributed to the fatal collision with the iceberg. Moreover, the Titanic's high speed also played a critical role in the tragedy. The ship was traveling at a speed beyond its design specifications in an attempt to stay on schedule and impress with its velocity. It was moving too fast for the night's conditions. This excessive speed reduced the crew's reaction time when the iceberg was finally spotted. Had the Titanic been traveling more slowly, it might have had a better chance of avoiding the collision. Another concerning factor was the insufficient number of lifeboats aboard the Titanic. Although it was considered one of the safest ships of its time, the Titanic had lifeboats for only a fraction of the passengers and crew. To accommodate everyone on board, the Titanic would have needed around 60 lifeboats. The chief designer, Alexander Carlisle, initially planned to equip the ship with 48 lifeboats, but the number was eventually reduced to 20. This decision was made purely for aesthetic reasons, as the deck looked too crowded with 48 lifeboats. This shortage left many without evacuation options and contributed to the high number of casualties. To make matters worse, the Titanic tragedy was compounded by the loss of distress signals from nearby ships due to light refraction. As the Titanic sank, other ships nearby, like the Californian, received distress signals but did not understand the severity of the situation due to light refraction. This optical phenomenon occurs when cold air layers are beneath warmer air layers, distorting light and creating mirages. As a result, the distress signals were not correctly interpreted, and the Titanic did not receive the needed assistance in time. Therefore, the Titanic's tragedy goes beyond a simple accident. We've explored an intriguing theory about a forgotten fire on board that weakened the hull. The Titanic offered unparalleled luxury for first-class passengers, but failures such as the lack of binoculars for lookouts, excessive speed, insufficient lifeboats, and loss of distress signals also worsened the disaster. This story serves as a reminder of the importance of safety in maritime travel and how unexpected events and decisions can tragically shape fate.